theme song goes here. Don't forget to put the theme song here. Welcome to the Season 1 finale of Panel of Amateurs. Today we're going to cover some things from the news, obviously the question of the week, and of course, our spoiler-filled Rogue One review. So stick around as long as you can. If you haven't seen Rogue One yet, go out and see it. Come back and listen to the rest of the episode. Let's get started.
What if when we get to our Rogue One review, we do a non-spoiler review first, and then talk about spoilers?
All right, Terry's got it.
That way, they can stay, and then they can go for just a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll do our non-spoiler review, and then we'll go ahead and jump into those spoilers.
All right, so Peter, this week it's really news-filled. Not a whole lot. We didn't get any trailers. I think there was an international trailer released for XXX, The Return of Xander Cage.
Never mind. I don't need to see any more trailers for that movie. I know what it's going to be about. I know that it's going to have explosions. And
did you realize it comes out in January?
No, I thought it was going to be a summer film.
I did too, but I'm pretty sure the last thing I saw said January.
Well, that seems silly.
Which means it's coming out in movie dump month.
In like 3 weeks.
And when the time of the season where nothing good comes out. So that should tell you what you need to know about it right there. But we're not forcing Batman news this week. We actually have real Batman news. So Ben Affleck released in an interview, said that he is ready to start shooting for Batman, his solo Batman film, in the spring. We'd already had some reports about it, but there was some back and forth about maybe they weren't there yet, that the script wasn't finished. If the script's not finished, I'm worried. Because with the most recent WB movies, they've jumped into this where they finished the script during shooting. With their most recent movies, that's troubling to me. I trust Ben Affleck. He's become a much better actor, a much better director.
Right. Well, he's a very good writer now too, as well. So I would hope that with his own experience, he would know that he should finish the story so they can have an end goal before they start shooting. Because I understand like film is not shot chronologically or linear. You know, they don't shoot scene 1 first and then scene 35 last.
Yeah.
You know, they jump back and forth when filming. But if you can have the whole story in front of you and see where things that you're doing right now are going to fit in later, I think that gives not only the actors but the crew and the director and like the just everyone that's on the crew a better vision of what's going to happen and maybe a better drive to get it done right.
Well, I also think it takes... Have you ever watched a movie and they get to the end? Like, the movie's really good, and it feels like they just said, all right, we're out of time, just do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like having a complete script ready to go, yes, there are reshoots, yes, there are rewrites, but a complete script with the idea of where you want to end up at, I think it shows in certain movies and doesn't show in other movies. Along with that, we also found out that they're pushing back the release date of Justice League 2 in order to fit in the solo Batman movie.
That's probably a good choice.
Well, I mean, is it though? Or is that them saying that Batman is a bigger character than the entire Justice League altogether?
I think they're saying that they want to have more spaced out revenue and not get all their chickens in one basket, so to say, money-wise. Like, if all the films come out really close together, perhaps the backlash of a film not doing well will hurt the next one. So they might give them time to, I don't know, reshoot, i.e. Suicide Squad.
So are you saying that Marvel is in trouble?
You mean DC?
No, Marvel. Remember next year?
Oh, yeah.
Starting next year, we're getting 3 Marvel movies a year. So what happens if the first one is bad? Is it going to affect the next movie due out that summer?
Of course it will. Of course. If your first film, even if they're not explicitly linked together, like we're not doing, say, like Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, like they're not named that way, we understand that these universes are all connected now. And if your first part of your first foot forward of this universe is not in an acceptable area for the viewers, I think that the social media backlash is going to definitely have an effect on what's going to happen later on with more of the next films.
Well, I'll be honest. When it comes, I trust Ben Affleck. I think he'll make a good Batman film. From the story that I've heard that they are trying to tell, which is this kind of raid-like Judge Dredd level to level to level story.
Right.
I think that will. I think it's for a Batman that will come across really, really good. We also got, excuse me. We also got more Batman news we're getting a Gotham City Sirens movie. For those of you who aren't familiar with Gotham City Sirens, it was a short-lived comic book run that featured Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and
Poison Ivy.
And Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
So off of the success of Harley Quinn in the latest Suicide Squad movie, most people said that was the best part of the movie. Now she's getting her own semi-solo movie where she'll be the lead kind of by herself. We're going to have Harley Quinn along with Catwoman and Poison Ivy. Is that, after seeing Suicide Squad, is that a movie that interests you in any way?
I always like the dynamic between Harley and Poison Ivy, and especially in the animated series. They have a really interesting relationship.
By interesting, you mean the fact that they're pushing across that they may or may not be in a relationship together.
It was the 90s. You couldn't straight out say that they were in a relationship on a kids TV show. But I think that, I don't know, I don't ever really like Catwoman. Every iteration of Catwoman that I've seen, including the Anne Hathaway version, it's not something, and I don't feel like her character is a strong enough character to put her in such a main role all the time. And I'm sure in the comic books that she's a lot stronger, but a lot of times when we see Catwoman, she's here for like 1 or 2 episodes of a TV show, or she's in...
And they still make her sort of that damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Where that's not who she actually is. Even like if you check the Arkham games, if you play the Arkham games, Batman is having to go save her. Like in the last Arkham Knight, there was a big spoiler alert if you haven't played Arkham Knight, but there was an arc of you were having to complete riddles because the Riddler had kidnapped Catwoman. If they make her a strong, and I think that is what Gotham City Sirens will be about, making these stronger female characters. I'm curious to see how they use the dynamic of Harley and the Joker. Basically, that relationship that we saw in Suicide Squad, we got a little bit of, and whether they're going to push the envelope with the Harley Poison Ivy relationship. Because in the comics, they actually confirmed that they were in a relationship. Are they going to go that route in the...
They probably, it might be one of those things where they just take the relationship they created in the 90s cartoon and then maybe push it a little bit further, but maybe never come out and say, like, these two are together. Because even though it's 2016, there's still a lot of prejudices and a lot of people that are they're gonna go see the film because it's a comic book movie with their kids, and then they're gonna be like, "Wait, I didn't want my kids to know that this existed in the world," you know?
Yeah, and I think that they would probably be smart enough where you wouldn't get any of that in the trailer.
Oh no,
none of that in the trailer.
Nothing in the trailer,
and you wouldn't even realize it until you're sitting there
halfway through the movie. You're like, "Wait, are they kissing?"
Does it trouble? Would you still be interested if you knew this movie would not include Batman?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What if it did not include the Joker either?
No.
So it's just Harley, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman.
I think I'd like to have the Joker in it still because we didn't get very much of the Joker and Harley's relationship in the first place. It would be nice to see them and their abusive relationship that they have.
And see her break away from that.
And then break away from that. So that might be a good like opening quarter of the film, and then to go off and be in this group with Catwoman and Poison Ivy. I think that would be a nice story.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I would see it regardless. whether Batman. Actually, I would rather Batman not be in it
Yeah.
because that takes away the focus from those three characters. If we're going to make this be about their strength, their battle or whatever type of battle they have to go through in the movie, I would rather Batman it not, have Batman as a side character or in the movie at all.
Yeah, I could see that. But it sounds like an interesting concept overall anyway, either way, having the Dark Knight or not.
I do have a question for you, however, Peter. So, and this kind of leads me into the next news we got, which is that they are going to start development on a Suicide Squad sequel along with a Deadshot solo movie. If we're here already with Deadshot, this takes me back to last week when we talked about The Rock and Shazam. Why are we not? I mean, again, you literally have either the second or the number one, the largest movie star, the most popular, profitable movie star in the world right now, already on your roster. Why are we not moving forward
with the Shazam
the Shazam movie? I mean, think about Marvel. They've already announced plans for Captain Marvel. They've already they've brought on Brie Larson, who we know is going to play Captain Marvel. Like, they're moving that along. They've had The Rock they've had an agreement with The Rock for years now to take on this role
of Black Adam. Yeah,
of Black Adam. What are we waiting on?
I'm not sure anymore because they, like you said, they were already at this point with Deadshot. Why didn't they step forward? Last week I talked about maybe they're waiting on trying to find out his actual peak, like The Rock's peak, and riding that wave to make the movie. But I think they might just be wasting time now at this point.
I don't know. As far as his peak goes, I couldn't imagine what they'd be waiting on. I mean, I think next year alone, he has 3 or 4 movies coming out. Like, if you're gonna catch him at his peak, this is the time. This is the time to do it. I would imagine that they would try to fit in a Shazam movie before like Justice League 2. That way you can fit him in Justice League. In Justice League 2. I'm just not sure. And I get, hey, Will Smith is a big star. Imagine what star would want to rival Star Wars with a movie. And not that he's going to take any money away from Star Wars this weekend, but the fact that you have the guts to release a movie on the exact same day as a Star Wars movie, you believe you're a big star, and Will Smith is still a box office draw. So I understand why pushing a movie forward with him. You've got him under probably a 3 or 4 movie deal. Let's go ahead and bank off of his bankability. Mm-hmm. Why are you not lining up directors, lining up writers, getting a story together to bank off of the Rock's box office draw right now?
Yeah, I don't know why they're not.
I'll tell you what it is, Peter.
That's weird, man. Do you think that they would step up?
Warner Brothers doesn't believe in their characters
because they think that Batman and Superman are the only ones that can.
I don't even think they believe in Superman. I think that they believe that Batman is their cash cow, and if all else fails, they'll make their money on Batman, and that's why you haven't seen a Flash movie. That's why we're just now getting a Wonder Woman movie after all these years. Why it takes so long to get a Superman movie off the ground. Why the characters I just named are some of the most iconic characters. If you went anywhere in the world and asked them, let's just say prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and said, hey, tell me the 3 comic book characters you know.
It would have been Batman, Superman,
Wonder Woman or the Flash.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's a 90% chance you're going to, if you ask for 4, you're going to get 3 DC characters before you get to a Marvel character. And I just think it is that Warner Brothers doesn't believe in this material. The money's proving it. The ticket sales are proving
I mean,
it.
just look at if they would just look at popular culture right now. I mean, the characters that they have in their wheelhouse that they can use are, like you said, some of the most popular. Like at Six Flags, all the rides are based on Warner Brothers characters for the most part. You basically promoting these comic book characters without having to make a film or anything. You just automatically know, oh, there's a Green Lantern ride, Green Lantern comic book. Oh, there's a movie coming out. I'm gonna go see it. That movie sucked, but the point is that they already have a huge built-in marketing force, and it's not like we're scared to see new things. If they would just understand that, if I don't know the character, it's not a big deal. Because if I understand it's from the DC universe or the Marvel universe, I'm going to go check it out and see what's going on.
And this whole belief that you have to ground a comic book character, they are comic book. Like when we're reading a comic, we are envisioning what we're seeing on the screen in that comic. So to tell me, oh, well, it's got to be grounded or it needs to be more realistic, you're really missing the point.
Yeah.
You're missing the point. I am accepting this as fantasy. That's why I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the difference between Warner Brothers studio heads and their money men versus the start of the MCU, where you had people who believed in these products, people who've written these products, people who grew up with with comics. I think you've really been able to tell the difference in their movies. I mean, just think about the fact that we got a Catwoman movie before we ever got a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, and like I said a second ago, Catwoman's not a strong character.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, Wonder Woman is far superior to Catwoman, both in character building, but also in recognizability. Like, if you put a Catwoman symbol and you put up a Wonder Woman symbol, people are gonna know what Wonder Woman's symbol is. Catwoman, what is it? It's like a cat face it's like the Batman head almost. People are gonna think it's like baby Batman. Like, does Catwoman even have a symbol?
I don't.
I feel like I should look that up.
I was trying to think, but no. I think that's really what it boils down to, is that they don't believe in these characters. I've said it for years when it comes to Superman. The fact that we only get the Kryptonian villains and Lex Luthor, why can't we get more of his rogues gallery? And I've heard in the past, like execs, people won't believe it, but we believe a baby from another planet fell to Earth, can shoot lasers from his eyes, can fly, unlimited strength, but we won't believe that there are other types of aliens or creatures out in this universe. That is them not believing in the character, actually.
So, Warner Brothers, we know you listen every week. Start believing in what you have. We already believe in it.
We believe in your characters. Just put them out there. Even, and I know we need to move on, but even this Batman versus Superman, that Doomsday that they put on screen, wasn't it was an atrocity, and not the type of atrocity they were looking for.
Yeah.
Why not just do what you already had on paper? We bought it before. We would eat it up. We would buy it. But this oversized troll that you gave us, not really happening for me. And you're also going to have to answer the question of, where was Wonder Woman during Man of Steel? Why did she show up when he was fighting Batman, but she had no interest in this invasion event that was happening not only over Metropolis, but other places in the world?
I think it's just because Batman and Wonder Woman, they have a thing. They're in a relationship.
I think she has a thing with living, and if they would have gotten their world engine, if it hadn't been stopped, it would have redone it wouldn't have just redone Metropolis. Every part of the world would have been affected. So where were you, Wonder Woman? Why all of a sudden do you want to protect Batman and Superman from this monster, but you didn't want to protect them from that Kryptonian and what was thought to be a Kryptonian invasion? All right. So
That's just a good question for another time.
they've got some answering to do. Email us, give us an interview. We need an exclusive.
Yeah.
We really do. We need an exclusive. Moving on to things outside of the DC universe, we got news that Sonequa Martin Green, who plays Sasha on The Walking Dead, has now been cast in the lead for CBS's web series Star Trek Discovery. Does that worry you about the fate of Sasha the rest of this season, Peter?
No, I already thought she was gonna die.
I think that really.
This is why I thought she was gonna die though, is because so we know in the comic books, Andrea, who has been dead for many seasons now, is the sniper for Alexandria.
She was also Rick's love interest.
And Rick's love interest. So she's gone. So they gave the sniper role to Sasha for a bit when she was processing Tyrese's death, when she was hunting walkers. And then she kind of just fell off the map for a little bit. And then Michonne became Rick's love interest. And they started giving Michonne a sniper rifle a few episodes back, episode 2 or 3 of the season. So they've been setting up Sasha to be less and less important anyway. And now she has a new job.
It does surprise me that the producers or the showrunners for The Walking Dead didn't ask her or have her wait to make the announcement.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because, I think anyone who knows this news now is just waiting
for her to die.
For her. And if they're saving her as one of the large character deaths at the end of the season, we already figure it's coming. And they made such a big deal out of hiding or trying to hide who died at the end of season 6, beginning of season 7. It does surprise me that they didn't make more of an effort to prevent this information from getting out there.
Yeah.
But it's only a web series, so does that mean, can she shoot both?
But if it's going to be, is it a web series like The Guild, where it's shot webcam style in front of computers, or is it full production show? Because even though it's a web series, it could be a full production thing that we're getting like 5 to 8 minute segments of each time.
Well, it's a full, and I think it's longer. I think it's a half-hour series.
So they're making a regular television show, but just putting it on the web.
But it's only going to be on CBS Access, I believe.
That's pretty messed up, CBS.
Well, they did have a CBS bigwig come out and say that it's not big enough to warrant being on the actual network. So that should tell you a little something about it.
So it's going to be really cheesy. Interesting choice on screen.
I guess that brings us back around. Does that make you think it's less likely that she will be killed off of The Walking Dead?
No, she's still going to die.
Still think she's going to die?
Yeah, because they're giving all the roles from the comic books to other people. I don't know what role she will fill at this point, other than the Sasha Rosita feud that doesn't really exist anymore, because they, in the last episode, they
gave each other a look.
The look and the nod or whatever, like, we're cool now.
We cool. Well, okay, then that brings up another question, Peter. So there's been some hubbub about the type of characters that The Walking Dead kills off.
Oh, because she's black.
You said it. I didn't. But since you did say it,
we still have 2. We still have Heath and.
So what you're saying is that we have too many.
Yeah, I'm saying we have 3 black characters right now,
and that's too many, and somebody has to go.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. It's Walking Dead. You're only allowed 2 a season.
Well, then somebody's days are numbered.
And we know it's not Gabriel, because he doesn't get close enough to battle enough to die.
Yes, but Gabriel has been getting more and more screen time lately.
And also Heath, what happened to him, man? Where'd he go? He got captured, and they left that card with the P's or the D's on it.
Yeah.
Or little swords. Maybe they could be little swords. So maybe Heath is going to die. That
was an awful lot of phallic references, Peter. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
The P's, the D's, and the swords. Thanks again. You do it every week.
Every week.
every week. So, do you think that is going to make the rumors or the talk even louder by getting rid of a Sasha.
I don't know. I feel like people, no matter who you are, come to expect this from The Walking Dead, though. And they might just not kill her and then say, "Oh, you guys thought we were racist and we only kill black people
And minorities.
and redheads, which is a minority." Yeah.
We see what you're up to, Walking Dead.
But they did just kill frat boy Spencer, who's pretty white and male.
And then they killed an obese lady, which is a minority.
Well,
technically in this country.
Not in this country. There's nobody talking about.
Technically here, that's the majority. But hey, Walking Dead, we're not actually we don't want to get sued or anything, so we're not actually accusing you of that. But it certainly does look weird. All right, so we're kind of speeding through the show, but our next segment, we're moving on. That's all the news for the week. So we're gonna move on to the most popular part of our show.
The question of the week.
Question of the week. Our question of the week from last week was?
Which Star Wars character or secondary, non-main character from the Star Wars universe would you like to see a spin-off movie for?
All right. If you didn't get a chance to answer on our Facebook, Twitter, or our YouTube account, please do so down in the comments now. Just let us know what you're thinking. Keep this conversation going. If you've seen Rogue One and there's a character you want to throw in from there who you'd like to have seen more from, let us know down in the comments. And we can discuss that on another show.
All right, so these are the answers that we got this week. First, we got Nathaniel. He said, I'd love to see a movie about the first Ewok that Leia met. That would be epic. He does have a name, and I can't think of it right now. But just it'd be kind of fun to watch an Ewok movie that wasn't horrible.
I was going to say, didn't they do an entire made-for-TV Ewok movie?
Yeah, but it was it was more focus on those kids, right? It wasn't made about the Ewoks, really.
I think it was made to sell toys, which is what most movies are made for, but that one specifically.
Speaking of that Ewok film, Thomas said he'd like to see the little girl from the Ewok. Her name is Sindel Tawani. And it'd be interesting to see, especially now because it would be so cool to bring her back as an adult and see what she's been up to. Maybe tie her into the main universe. So there is a little girl with the blonde curly hair from the Ewok movie. Is it movies or one? Just one.
I think it was just one. But as bad as that movie is, it surprises me that two of our first answers are about that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Thomas's answer is actually a couple answers down, but I linked them together to make it work nicely.
It surprises me that we got more than one. It surprises me we got any.
So from Ben, he has the stormtrooper that actually shot Leia. So when they're on the moon of Endor and they're on the speeders and Leia gets shot, the stormtrooper that can actually shoot, maybe see what they're up to.
See, that makes a whole lot of sense.
From Christopher,
why his training was completely different than everyone else.
Why was his training so much better? From Christopher, we have the Tusken Raider that shot down a pod racer. That'd be cool to see what's going on with the Tusken Raiders, kind of see what they actually do other than... Well, I guess we kind of did see that in episode 2 when Anakin goes back for his mother and...
They're killing people and then they're getting...
Yeah.
I think Anakin pretty much annihilated them. He killed women, children, and everything. I don't think there's any of those guys left around.
Yeah, but I mean, we can go backwards.
We can go backwards.
Rogue One is people are... As in episode 4, they told us everybody died. They got the plans. And now we have the film for Rogue One, so... and then lastly, we have Annette. She says the race that lives on Camino, the clones and the clones the stormtroopers. I've always wondered how the Greys live. So she wants to see what happens when Obi-Wan's not there and see, I guess, what it's like to be one of a super, super tall and skinny gray alien that makes clones for survival. So yeah, that's the answers that we got for this week. What about you, Terry? Who would you like to see a spin-off film for?
So I'm kind of cheating here. I told my Darth Vader story last week. I would love to see, even after seeing Rogue One, I would love to see a full-fledged Darth Vader spinoff where he is the boogeyman. And
Right.
when we get to our spoiler reviews, that in that scene that we're going to talk about, that made me want that movie that much more. But I'll talk about somebody who's not really canon anymore. Is Starkiller, Darth Vader's apprentice. So if you've ever played the Force Awakens games, Starkiller is Darth Vader's like secret apprentice. He's played by Sam Witwer, who is a huge kind of comic book fan. He's been a voiceover actor in like some of the Star Wars Rebels series, things like that. But I'd like to see him be able to reprise that role as Darth Vader's secret apprentice on screen. That would be one that I would like to see. And it would also go to show you that Vader had, if that were canon and Vader did have a secret apprentice, that would mean that Vader was, in all actuality, planning to overthrow the Emperor at some point. So to get that kind of background story, things like that. Because with the Sith, there can only be two.
Right, there can only be two.
There can only be two. So in order for him to take on an apprentice, he would have had to have been thinking of
Overthrowing the Emperor. Nice. That'd be a good story.
See,
Really good.
I'm all in on that one.
For me, I want to see a Wedge Antilles film. Wedge, if you're not really familiar, is one of the X-wing pilots in Episode 4 and also Episode 6. Yeah, he and Luke are the only ones X-wing pilots that ever survive fighting the Death Star, and I believe they're both from Tatooine. So it's interesting how that works out. But I'd like to see how he came to join the rebellion, and why, how he became such a good pilot, and kind of just see him growing up. Maybe not growing up like from a kid, but like growing as a character. And then we can get like the Luke cameos that people want, and you can get the Uncle Ben and Aunt Beru stuff. It'd be interesting just to see Tatooine from a different side.
And is it still going to tie into the main unit? Rogue One was a side story, but it's still tied into the main.
Definitely, yeah. It would have to still tie in to the main. It would take place. I guess it would have to take place before Rogue One does, because the rebellion's so at the point in Rogue One where they can overthrow the Death Star. So it'd have to be maybe a year or two before Rogue One.
Do you think? Speaking of Rogue One, before we get into our review, do you think that they are going to continue to jump back in time? Like, obviously, there's a certain period of time that they can cover between Episode 3 and Episode 4, and we've covered some of that time in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're going to continue to cover stories within that time period, or even jump further back in time prior to Episode 1?
Well, we have the Han Solo film coming out, so that's going to take place between 3 and 4. Because it's young Han Solo.
Yes.
But I think it'd be a better idea to jump before Episode 1 and take care of that kind of stuff.
Kind of like Knights of the Old Republic
style.
style.
Knights of the Old Republic. And then we can see how the Jedi had more of an influence even before than they do now. Even in Episode 1, the Jedi are starting to lose any kind of influence over the Senate and the galaxy.
Like as the Emperor started to kind of infiltrate the Senate and lay out his whole plan for galactic domination. Well, let's just jump right into our Rogue One review. So Peter and I just saw Rogue One over the weekend. We're going to do non-spoilers first.
Yeah, non-spoilers and then spoilers. So from this point on, we're non-spoilers, then we'll tell you when we'll get to our spoilery review. Non-spoilery, I'm not as high on the movie as most are. I felt that the first 2/3 of the movie was really boring. It was slow moving, not a whole lot going on. It was hard for me to get into a Star Wars movie without Jedis and lightsaber battles. Interesting. I wouldn't say I'm as high on it as some of my friends are. Definitely on Facebook, I saw things like this movie was breathtaking, so I have no breath to tell you what it was about.
Best Star Wars movie ever. I've seen all of these.
Yeah,
things.
I don't know about that. I mean, you and I talked about it after the film, and I think I would rank it better than Episode 2.
So if we rank,
For sure, yeah.
what we said is if we rank the entire Star Wars movies that we've got on film,
Right.
excluding the first three, or the first three meaning episodes 4, 5, and 6, because we would rank them in 1, 2, and 3 spot, however you'd like. But where would your 4 films start?
Right, and we discussed 7 being 4, at least for me, 7 being 4. And then I would put this in slot 5 for sure.
So, and that is The Force Awakens. And that actually, fixing something I said earlier, the video game was The Force Unleashed. And The Force
Did you say The Force Awakens?
I did say The Force Awakens.
I didn't even catch
so,
that.
The Force Unleashed was the video game. The Force Awakens was episode 7, which you ranked 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I ranked 5th.
Yeah.
Because I ranked episode 3
4th.
at 4. I ranked episode 7, The Force Awakens, at 5, and Rogue One at 6.
Yeah, leaving only episodes 1 and 2 to battle it out, tied for 7th.
Tied for 7th. So I mean, so if you're out of 8 movies in this universe, what does that really say about?
Yeah, we
Rogue
both put it on the lower end, but for me it was okay watching it as a film and not part of the Star Wars universe. It was probably like a 7, 6.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of the nods to the other Star Wars films, I bumped it up and with the nostalgia factor, and so I would give this still like almost an 8.
As a Star Wars fan, yes, yeah. I there were things about the movie that the nods towards episodes 4, 5, and 6, the nods to Leia, the nods to Luke, the nods to the events of 4, 5, and 6, and the events of the prequels also. It was just that they, like, the characters, there were certain characters, and we'll get to this in spoilers, that they focused on quite a bit that really had no effect on
the storyline at all.
On the storyline at all. If you are a Star Wars fan and you love these movies, you will find something to love about this movie.
Definitely.
It's not to say that I didn't like it. Maybe I probably shouldn't have looked online and saw the best Star Wars movie ever and this, that, and third.
Don't ride the hype train. Just get there by bus, I guess.
But I just didn't walk away feeling. I had a better feeling after Force Awakens than I did after coming out of the movie theater.
Like fulfilled wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though Force Awakens was kind of a retread, there were a lot of story points that had already been done before. We can go on about the mistakes that movie may or may not have made, but I just felt like this one it started flat for me. The best part of the movie was the last five or so minutes.
Yeah, I mean the end gets really awesome really fast. They do kind of cram all of the more exciting stuff at the end of the story for sure.
So before we jump into spoilers real quick, we kind of dialed back our rating system a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if you had 2 choices and you could just say see it or not. Is this a see it or an or not?
It's a see it for me, for sure.
It's a see it for you. I mean, if you had a gun to my head, I would say or not. And I know I know we're gonna get murdered for that. And I don't mean that it's not a good movie. I am saying that you don't have to rush out opening weekend and see it.
Don't listen to Terry. Go out and see it.
This is not the only time I'm not gonna explain our rating system anymore. But that is just the one time I'm gonna say that this is something that I could have gotten the same feel at home on Blu-ray. That's all I'm saying.
Dang. Harsh.
All right, let's jump into spoilers. So, right off the bat, If you have not seen the movie, this is spoilers. You might want to skip on the next few minutes to the end. You also can find the time codes down in the descriptions, so you kind of know where we're at on this. Jen Orso and her mother and father, are kind of confronted by Krennic,
Commander Krennic, yeah.
at the beginning of the movie, where he's taking Jen Orso's father to complete plans for a weapon. They haven't announced that it's a Death Star because it seems when we meet Jen, at first she's 6,
yeah,
and then they say 15 years later,
yeah,
or so in the movie, again when she's an adult. I bought the story of her and her father. It was more so the story of
Saw
Gerrera. That like it was useless. Like you built up the first half an hour to an hour going, where's Saw Gerrera? Let's find Saw Gerrera. But
and then he found him.
Everyone already knew where he was.
Yeah.
The Emperor, the Empire sent ships there. They already knew that his rebels were attacking Jeddah. Like there was no question of where he was.
I don't think it was so much where he was. It was just that he wouldn't talk to anybody. I think it's what it more was. Because remember they said something to the effect of, if he knows that you're Galen's daughter, then maybe he'll talk to you.
He'll talk to. I want to say is even the Galactic Empire knew where he was, but that information that Galen had sent to him, you could have sent that there was nothing that he'd done with that.
Right. Well,
and at that point, you don't even know that your daughter is alive.
Yeah.
So if you have that,
and the whole message is geared towards her.
Why would you not send it to the rebel leaders where this is information that they could use?
Because then why would we even care about Jen?
Because then that's true. But that part, the Saw Gerrera thing, I just felt like that was a nod to some of the animated shows that was kind of useless. The breathing voice thing he was doing was getting annoying. But it was just that character.
What do you mean? I thought it was the best.
You were wrong. I just felt like I said earlier, I need a Star Wars universe. My Jedis don't have to be Luke or Skywalkers, but I need lightsabers in my Star Wars battles.
Yeah, because then it's just a war movie at that point. I get that. However, one thing I did like about this film was the war part. Where it was just, okay. The problem with this movie is the fact that we knew the beginning and the end before they even made the movie, though. When they said, we're going to make a movie that takes place at this time, covering these characters, we knew at the beginning, well, from the trailer we found out about Galen and the weapon. Yeah. But we knew that the Empire was creating a weapon, and we knew that all of the spies that were getting the plans were going to die. So that kind of, there was no point during the battle where you're like, oh man, are they gonna make it?
There were really no surprises.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There were no surprises, and even this goes back to the Superman versus Batman debate of whether or not they should have put Wonder Woman in the trailer.
Right.
It almost seems to me after seeing the movie that they should have not put Vader in the trailer at all. But rumored it.
They didn't put Leia in, and we were right. She was totally in it.
I think I called the sweet Leia buzz.
No way, I totally did it, man. Let's go back and listen to the episode later on.
Well, we're gonna have to do that because I'm pretty sure I called Leia when we talked last week about what expectations we had of the movie or what we were gonna guess was gonna happen. We talked about the 5. I think I said 5. You said 10 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I said 10 or 20 minutes, and you said 5 minutes of footage for Vader.
And we got maybe
5. Yeah,
maybe that. And I've said enough bad about the movie, and that's really.
Wait, one more bad thing. what the heck was up with Vader's outfit, man?
Where
There's
the
something
neck piece thing was weird, and
there's something really weird about the way that his cowl connects to his chest piece. It looks like a bad costume.
I have to go back and watch episodes 4, 5, and 6 to see if it looked like that, because
It
that
doesn't.
was
It's way more sleek. Like it comes down and is like connected nicely. And this looks like he has like a balloon underneath it or something. I don't know. It's really weird.
yeah, that part. I kept noticing that, and it was throwing me off. But there were really, really great nods to the
Especially episode 4.
universe as a whole. The Grand Moff Tarkin stuff was
Amazing.
amazing, and I don't know if it was amazing just because, or with the dialogue and his scene interactions, it was just it was seamless.
Yeah, it was
the way he looked.
amazing to look at him. Just to look at him, and you were just like, this guy's dead in real life, but holy cow.
And it wasn't, and they've done some of that in like Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genesis, where they've de-aged
And then
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
in Fast 7 when they...
in Fast 7,
But-
but none of it looked not only as good, but he spoke, and it was like full on face to the camera speaking, and it didn't, like, there were times when I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out if it was how digitized it was, because they spent
did
a ton of money.
A lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of talent. So good job, effects artists, because that was amazing.
That was, and not only that one, but the Leia cameo.
Yeah, the
at
DH
end.
Leia. Holy cow, that was so good.
Leia and we said there was going to be some sort of a handoff to Leia at the end of the movie, and they did it in spectacular fashion. That was great. The way Leia looked, I mean, again, I don't know if they just pulled footage right from one of the old movies. Episode 4.
Yeah.
But it was another seamless digitization of that character that came across really well for me. Did you notice, before we get to Vader, because that's the last thing we're going to touch on, that some of the scenes, especially with the space battles between the TIE fighters and the X-Wings and the Star Destroyers, did you notice that they shot a lot of that to look exact, like shots from
everything, like the way, like with the TIE fighter pilot, like the camera angle on the camera angle on the TIE fighter pilot looks like the camera angles on the pilots in episode 4. In like the trench battle, and the way that like some of the X-Wings explode and the inside the cockpit shots, exactly the same. It was super smooth.
And even though, like, especially with like the big Star Destroyers, some of that stuff where you could tell that those were I would assume that they used miniatures for some of that.
Yeah, like the way they did back with episode 4.
But it tied that together because it looked the same, but I felt good about it. Like, it wasn't horribly done. But you could kind of tell that maybe parts of it were miniatures, but it looked good.
It looked nice.
The nostalgia tied it together. So, last part of our spoiler review, which was the best part of the movie for me.
Wait, one more thing before we get to Vader. The scene from the trailer that I've been wanting to see, and I've been talking about in every episode that we talked about this, where Jin is walking out on the antenna and the TIE fighter comes up. It's not in the movie.
It was not in the movie, and we talked about how we wondered, like, how do you get away from that?
Yeah,
that must be the scene where she dies.
Yeah,
well, it is not.
It is not,
because it's not,
because it doesn't exist.
And we went back and watched that first trailer they released.
Yeah,
and 90% of that trailer is not
exist.
Actually in the movie.
Yeah, so good job throwing us all off there, Disney.
Even the stuff that they showed with Vader isn't
in the movie.
Isn't in the film. But moving on, the best part of the movie for me was a 1-2 minute action set piece where Vader just unleashes.
He goes after the plans.
Full presence, his full arsenal of force chokes and blaster stopping,
force pushes,
and lightsaber
death.
Saberness. It was magical, Peter.
It was actually really nice to watch. It was probably the first time that it got exciting, like on your edge to see, like, oh my gosh, did you see that? That was cool.
When those rebel troops were like cowering in that corridor,
yeah,
and it just got dark on the other side, and then there's smoke, and then all you hear is the and the smoke clears, lightsaber, and then he just goes through a corridor, annihilating
Like 20 dudes, just everyone's just gone.
They're firing, and when I say a corridor, like I mean, imagine fighting in something probably double the size of a standard hallway, but it's filled with 20 other people, and they're shooting blaster rifles at you, and you are dodging and choking and force pushing the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, you're just destroying.
That's why I need to see a Vader standalone film. I need it. I need Vader to be because in the beginning of that scene, when they're all, because they know it's coming.
Yeah, they definitely
And they're
know.
all cowering. Vader is the boogeyman. He is the boogeyman we need. He is our Michael Myers, our Freddy Krueger, our Jason Voorhees. You have to give that to. And first of all, we talked about box office and Darth Vader, when it comes to Star Wars, is the most lucrative character they have in that entire franchise.
Yeah.
More popular than Luke, more popular than Kylo Ren, more popular than Obi-Wan, more popular than Darth Maul. Why are we not getting a Vader standalone film?
Maybe Disney executives are listening to this right now and they realized what a great idea you had.
And if you contact Peter and I, we'll bust out a script for you.
We will write it and
You'll probably
give us
rewrite it 4 or 5 times, but we'll get you started.
We'll get you there. It'll be pretty. It'll be like a 3. It'll be pretty amateurish, but that's the point of the show.
All in all, again, I didn't hate the movie. It just wasn't what my expectations going in. It didn't meet my expectations going in. So that is why
So
I had to rate it where I did.
And for me, I would say that it did meet the expectations that I wanted, because I wanted Sweet Leia buns, got those. I wanted Vader to show up, got that.
I wanted more Vader though.
Yeah,
I wanted you to be right.
I know, but I'm sorry, I was wrong. But I also got the story that I wanted, and I'm really glad they did not push the love interest thing between Jin and Captain. It doesn't matter, he's dead, but it starts with a C.
Calcian or something.
Calcian, yeah.
Calcian, something like that.
But I'm really
Hey,
glad.
we know you're watching. Let us know how to pronounce it down in the comments. That because we know you're watching. We
Yeah.
just let us know. We want to pronounce it right for you.
So yeah, I'm just glad that they only did like sexual tension at the end and not like, oh wait, maybe we're in love now.
I'll be honest with you. I felt that was forced. I didn't think
Yeah.
they had any chemistry.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That I'm glad they didn't push it though. Like,
What they did push, I felt was forced.
yeah. Well, may the force be with you.
They were forcing the force on us too. Peter, we're gonna have to move on, or I'm
That's
going
true,
to
yeah.
get even angrier at the film.
But yeah, so overall, I say it's okay. It's good. Go see it. Terry says it's okay.
It's good
see it at
enough
home.
to buy the DVD
Yeah.
or the Blu-ray.
Put it in your collection. Let it sit there for a couple years. Come back to it.
But if you know, like I said, if you are a Star Wars fan, there are things about this movie that you're going to love, but there are also things that are going to turn you off as to this movie being in continuity.
So yeah.
All right. Well, we have reached the end of our show. This is the last show for for season 1. This is our mid-season finale. Don't forget, I think Peter and I are thinking about kind of changing up the dynamic of our show next time we come back, adding some things, taking some things out. If there are other things that you would like to see us do or not do, let us know down in the comments. We're okay with criticism.
Maybe that'll be the question of the break. Like, what did you like most about the season? What did you hate most about the season?
Let us know down in the comments on our Facebook page, Twitter, all that panel of amateurs. That'll be our question of the break instead of the week.
Yeah.
Is what things did you like most? What would you like to see us continue to do? What's something you'd like to see us add to the show, or add more shows throughout the week in smaller bunches? Just let us know. Again, over the break, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel. If you if you're wondering why you haven't been getting the notifications, YouTube has changed a few things. You'll have to go down and click the little bell next to subscribe,
Right, to get
and
that
that way
notification.
you'll start getting the notifications of when we post our newest and latest episode. But Peter, it was a good time seeing the movie. Like I said, I sound a little more harsh about it than what I want to, but I think we did a great job this first half of the season.
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
can't wait to come back in a few weeks and get going again.
I really look forward to the things that we're going to do for the future. So, good first season, Terry.
All right, thanks, amateurs. We'll see you when we get back.
See you next time.